Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Restore to Explore. We're working on the HZ Kingswood, and today we're finally going to get it sorted. I know I said that last episode, but today we're going to get it sorted. There's only a couple of things left that it could be, and I've got a pretty strong inclination of what the problem actually is this time. A couple of you had a really good couple of guesses at what it could be, and some of you were partially right, so let's jump into it and see if we can't get this thing running. The first thing that we're going to be looking at under here is we're pulling off the valve cover and we're going to have a look at the valves. Now we've checked the ignition timing, we've checked the fuel, and obviously it's still not running right. So the next thing to look at is the mechanical side of things. First thing we're going to do is pull the valve cover off and make sure that each of the valves is moving while we crank the engine over to make sure we don't have a stuck valve or one of the hydraulic lifters has failed, so it's not pushing the push rod up. So we're going to have a look at that now and we'll go from there. Alright, so all of the valves were moving, so that's ruled out. It's not a stuck valve, but the valve could be going at the wrong time. Remember, we're getting misfire through the carby, so air's getting pushed back through the carby. So the other thing that it could be is that 5 years ago when I built this engine, I could have put the camshaft in the wrong position by a tooth or so. These don't have a timing belt or a timing chain. They're gear driven off the crankshaft, and if it's one tooth out, it could be opening the valves at the wrong time and pushing air back out through the intake valves while it's on the compression stroke. So I think the next thing for me to do here is just pull the timing cover off and just see if the timing marks line up, and if they don't, that's our problem. Alright, you'll see a dot just there and a dot down there, and they're meant to be facing each other. So that means 15-year-old me did not get the cam timing right, and since it's been sitting around for about 6 years now, coming on 7 years, this engine, since it's been rebuilt, it wasn't something that was on the top of my mind. So cam's got to come out, so the rockers have got to come off, push rods, lifters, oil pump, all the ignition, so the distributor's got to come off, so that I can then pull the camshaft out a little bit, rotate it, put it back in, put everything back together, and then this thing will run right. So let's do it, let's pull this engine down, let's get it over and done with. As you will see there, those two dots now line up. It's about 4 hours later. I've gotten everything back together, got the radiator back in, new oil filter back on, pretty much everything's done. Just need to hook up the battery, get a timing light out, adjust the ignition timing, and then hopefully this thing's going to fire up. We're about to find out. So let's just do these final couple things and then let's see if this thing starts and runs as it should. Alright, so now I've just spun the dizzy 180 degrees. Let's see. That was so cool. I can't believe it's finally driving. One thing is the throttle was getting a little bit stuck. That return spring for the throttle wasn't strong enough, so I just modified it. I just cut it down a little bit. I was having this problem with the other carby as well. I'd lift off the throttle and it would take a while for the revs to actually drop. So I've just cut the spring, rebent it. Now it's got a lot more spring. Alright, so gapping those plugs didn't work, it wasn't running right, so I went and picked up a set of 202 Blue Motor plugs, which they were the 6-cylinder 202s that came out with electronic ignition. So I put a set of those plugs in. I think they were a BR5 FS-15. Anyway, I just put them in and just about to start it up and see how it runs on the new plugs. Alright. Oh, first go. Oh, that's so much better. Wow, I can't believe how much better that is straight away, and it hasn't even warmed up yet. It's actually still cold. So I'm gonna wait for it to warm up, but already that's running so much better. I'll let it warm up and then take it for another run, make sure it's not misfiring, and then on to the next thing. Alright, so there you have it. We finally got it sorted. I'm so stoked at how this thing drives and runs now. It's what it should have been this whole time. Now I'm gonna take the car to go get a wheel alignment, because it drastically needs a wheel alignment. They're completely out of whack, obviously. Need to go get that done. And then there's just a couple of other things I need to tidy up. I haven't connected the heater hoses yet, and just some other small things. And then hopefully this thing can get some number plates. I think that's what the next episode will be. It will be getting this car registered, getting it on the road, and enjoying it. So for those that have followed this build up until now, I want to thank you guys a lot, and I'll see you guys when this is completely done. Cheers.